I can do what I want when I want to do it. I can do what I need when I need to get through it. When I need someone else, can't be too proud for help, but gotta look after myself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. And that's exactly what the day is. But it's exactly what you make it. So please don't go wasting. And I'll do the same, even if it's raining. How could I complain? And my feels got me feeling some type of way. You always free to take a break. Hope you feel what I felt. You gotta look after yourself. Sometimes it can get lonely, never living in the moment. When the sun is shining, hope that I'm reminded, like how the clouds keep changing. I'm always steady rearranging, going back to the basics of what a good day is. What a good day is. What a good day is.
It's another good day. Y'all know what to do. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can see me. Drop a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. We about to go ahead and get into it. What's up, y'all? Hopefully everybody's doing well. I see the ones in the chat. We should be good. Oh yeah, shout out to y'all. Let me see how we looking up in here though. Are we good? We got the sound good? Oh yeah, we're good. We're good, looking all crispy and clean on the screen. Welcome y'all. Welcome back to another YouTube live stream and another episode of the Music Morning Show. I'm your host, ClassE Beats of ClassEbeats.com. Today we're gonna do a little bit of a review, a little bit of a rewind, talk about some of the things that went down yesterday. We've got some more insight, some more information into what actually happened with Yak Gotti's bond hearing. Some crazy things going on. Also, we're going to talk about Jay-Z. It looks like we're still having some things there. His lawyer finally speaks out and does a whole press conference about these allegedly false accusations. Can we say allegedly false, allegedly true? I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, we're going to get into it. But before we do, I got to say what's up to the people, man. Shout out to everybody who's in the building. Of course, you already know we have the awesome, amazing Amy is up in here. Shout out to Amy for always stopping by, showing love, reminding y'all to like the video. Appreciate you, Amy. She was holding me up this morning. Y'all believe that? Somebody said ex parte. Yeah, we're definitely ex parteing over there. I'm not mad though. Les Cleaver's in the building. Shout out to Les Cleaver. We got Alabama GG is up in here. Les also dropped the 5 bomb. Says there's nothing better than God and family. Amen. Have a great day at all. Oh, I think he's meant to say have a great day, y'all, and I'll see you on my work break. Shout out to Les for the 5 bomb. Appreciate you. Olivia, Lavisa, A-Fitz, Mishi, Alejandra is in the building. We are the Tylers. Shout out to the family up in here. Fatima, Joyce Walker, Carla. Good to see you. Who else we've got? Oh, look at Carla. She has been a member for 2 months. Says, I've been a member for 2 months now. Awesome. Love the show. Appreciate you. Bama girl is in here. We got a lot of people from Alabama up in here. Shout out to Sean is in the building. Susan, Taco Tuesday. Oh my goodness. We just missed you. We missed you yesterday, Taco Tuesday. I did. I had a big burrito yesterday though. Mama D, J Buckmaster, Azure, Rice Street is up in here too. Shout out to Rice Street with the like number 83. Also been a member for 3 months. Says ClassE must be eating his buttered toast with peach jam and drinking his room temperature water. Shaking my head. CPT. You know we're always, if I'm late, I'm not late. All right. I'm just on West Coast time. Okay. never late, always on time. Benjamin's up in here. Shout out to y'all, Shay, Rebecca. All right, good to see everybody in here. I'm gonna be saying good morning to you as we go throughout the show. If y'all could do me a huge favor and make sure you like the video on your way in. Not only is it free, not only does it help the show continue to grow, but it lets the YouTube algorithm and really any algorithm know that you guys are enjoying the show, and it shares the video with more people. So if y'all could take a second and do that for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And we're gonna go ahead and get into the content. All right, so first up, we're gonna go with Judge Whitaker and see what went down yesterday afternoon. I know we did dip up out of here a little bit earlier, but we got to see Miles Farley. He was given an amazing plea deal, in my opinion. First offender, he doesn't really have to worry as long as he keeps his nose clean and stays inside. In 2 or 3 years, that probation will almost be eliminated. He could get rid of that RICO charge that he has. Everything else, he's not going to be held responsible for, which is super dope. We're going to get to the rest of this hearing from Judge Whitaker, see what happened behind the scenes of some of the other defendants that are going to be moving forward in the rest of this YSL trial that I believe is picking up. I want to say January 13th, but don't hold me to that. We're going to listen to what Judge Whitaker has to say. Y'all let me know what you think. Here we go. The volume might be a little low too. Let me check. See.
Are there any other
Yes.
pleas that are going to be tendered today?
Judge Whitaker up here mumbling. Hold on.
All right. So what I would like to do is, and we can just start up here with Mr. Minder, and I'd like the state to put on the record what the plea offer is. And I want everybody, all of the 4 defendants, and Mr. McMullen, we just heard from your attorney, and he believes he will be here by 11:30. He's apparently in Gwinnett County on some other case right now, and we'll have to just sort of wait until he gets here to handle yours. But this applies to you as well, for everybody. This is the final plea date. It's your first final plea before me. I know that y'all had a final plea before Judge Dempsey previously, but I gave you all the opportunity post the verdict in the case with some of the co-defendants to negotiate if you chose to, and have a final plea date, if you will. But this will be your last opportunity to enter a negotiated plea in this case, meaning you all in the state have agreed to a recommendation, and you can be assured that if I do not accept that recommendation, that you can withdraw your plea. Now, you can obviously at any point in time enter a non-negotiated guilty plea, and that would mean that you decide to plead guilty, and the state will make a recommendation as to sentence. Your attorneys will make a recommendation as to sentence, and it will be entirely up to the court to sentence. Could be above or below what any of the recommendations are, could be exactly what one of the recommendations is, but as long as it is within what is permitted by the statutes. And then, of course, you have the right and opportunity to proceed to trial on the case as well. Does everybody understand?
And there are 4 of them left, by the way. So we're going to get into it here in just a second.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Minder, you have this case pending, and you have another case pending as well. Is that right?
These guys, man.
So we were going to respectfully
Mr. Minder.
request to hold our announcement and to have an opportunity to approach the court at the bench whenever convenient before we move forward with the final.
All right. So I will come back to y'all. So, Mr. Garlington and Mr. Mondelli and Mr. Abadi, can you put the offer on the record for Mr. Garlington?
Yes, Your Honor.
So what could he have gotten?
Your Honor, on
It's interesting.
December 9th of 2024, an offer was relayed to counsel for Mr. Garlington as it relates to the possibility of tendering a guilty plea. The recommendation from the state was for the defendant to plead to count 1, conspiracy to commit RICO, count 49, which is the murder count, but it be reduced to the lesser included offense of voluntary manslaughter, and him to plead to count 50, which is participation in criminal street gang activity, and then count 54, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, with a global sentence of 30 all parolable time.
All right, and as a part of that plea offer, you all were going to null cross 40, 42, 43, and 51. Is that right?
That is correct, Judge.
All right.
Is he gonna take it?
All right, and Ms. Rondelli, you discussed with your client the potential sentences that could be faced if he goes to trial and is convicted of all counts.
Yes, Judge, we've spoken extensively about potential risks of going to trial. I conveyed the offer to Mr. Garlington on December 10th, and we have had some discussion with Mr. Abadi since then. We are not in a position to accept the offer to be placed on the record. We'll be rejecting that offer.
So they're rejecting that first offer from Mr. Garlington. Let's see, what was Mr. Garlington looking at? And again, they mentioned it here. I'll zoom in for y'all so we can see. Give me 1 second. Boom. There we go. Demekion Garlington, where is he at on this indictment? He's got 1, 40, 42, 43, 49, 50, 51, and 54. Okay, they were saying they were going to get him on RICO. And of course, they wanted to get him on the gang-related charges. The attempted murder was going to be taken down to involuntary manslaughter. I mean, it could potentially be a good deal for him depending on the amount of time. And it looked like the stream glitched out and we weren't able to see. But then he's got 49, 50, 51, and 54, which would be murder. Okay, that was gone. Participation in criminal street gang activity, they got him on that. 54, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony. And he's going to deny that and he's going to take it to trial. What do y'all think about that? So we're going to see Demekion Garlington here in about 3 or 4 weeks. This is the last chance.
Yeah, and y'all can certainly present a joint recommendation. It's just not going to be negotiated per se at that point, in that you would have a right to withdraw the plea if the court didn't sentence in accord with that. But I mean, I will say, and this is certainly no guarantee, but I think across the however many years I've been on the bench now, I typically still, if there is a joint recommendation, certainly take that into account and fairly often probably sentence in accord with that, but that is certainly not a guarantee. So, Mr. Abadi, would you be able to put on the record?
Man, the stream kept glitching when the cameraman turned his camera. That's tough. Taco Tuesday says, I hope he has a good lawyer. Yeah, me too. So I don't know much about this lawyer or his attorney. So we're going to find out coming January. Oh, they big glitch.
Let me say another thing as well. I know that there was a not guilty or a not guilty verdict for most of the counts that faced the 2 defendants who proceeded all the way through to jury verdict. A trial for any of the 4 of you would be before a different jury. I would suspect that a lot of the evidence would be the same. The way it is presented might not be the same. The, I don't know, state's sort of story, theory, if you will, might or might not be the same. And the ultimate outcome might or might not be the same. And I'll tell you, and I'm sure that all of your attorneys have told y'all, that acquittals with a jury are a rarity. So just keep that in mind. It does not mean that the same thing would happen to you. Y'all, you know, we've got a different prosecutor at the table who I hope would stay through the trial of the case.
Judge Whitaker. Yo, she got a crush on this man. He is married, Judge Whitaker. Relax. This could be flattering to Mr. Abadi or some shots fired at Miss Love and Miss Hilton. I don't know. Jury selection is going to be insane. What do y'all think about jury selection for this? Judge Whitaker's mentioning it. It's not going to be the same jury. Thank God it's not going to be the same prosecutors. Can I get an amen for that? Sheesh.
And it just is probably going to look a lot different. There's also a different judge at the beginning. So just keep that in mind. But I understand that for now, y'all will be rejecting that offer. All right. So we've got Mr. Eppinger, and I know Mr. Eppinger still has a motion pending. I will tell, and Mr. Johnson, you should now have all of the transcripts from the main witnesses who testified around the 2 attempted murder counts at trial. And if we are not having a plea today, I'm obviously we're not going to have that hearing today, but I would be interested in going ahead and getting that scheduled. And I will say that I have heard the testimony as it was presented at the last trial, and I have seen the videos. I don't know what might be presented at the immunity motion, but I'm fairly certain that those 2 videos would be presented again, and I'm already familiar with that, as are y'all, having had it in discovery for a long time now. But we're going to go ahead with the final plea now. So even though that motion is still pending, any plea that you might be interested in tendering at some further point in the case, if you ever decide to do that, would be non-negotiated. Just
understood, Your Honor.
Mr. Eppinger, you understand that as well? Okay. All right. So, Mr. Body, can you put on the record what the offer tendered to Mr. Eppinger was, please?
Yes, Your Honor. The state's offer
this is Christian Eppinger.
Mr. Eppinger was a global sentence of life imprisonment as it relates to the armed robbery and everything else to run concurrent on this indictment that run consecutive to the time he's currently serving in DOC custody, Your Honor.
All right.
Mr. Eppinger is facing a minimum of a life sentence and a maximum of 2 consecutive life sentences plus
a life sentence plus 2 consecutive life sentences. Oh my goodness. What kind of deal is that?
45 years, Your Honor.
Plus 45 years. Jesus.
And I don't, this is just my quick count, but Mr. Eppinger is facing approximately 15 different felony charges on this indictment. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right.
And he has, if I remember correctly, the most out of anyone on this YSL indictment. Look at this. Let me find him. Where did he go? It should be easy to find. That's Marquavius Huey. Christian Eppinger. He's got 27 through 29, 31 through 39, and then 47 and 48. I mean, we're going to play and actually go into the background of what happened with Christian Eppinger specifically, because it's going to be interesting. We also have an immunity deal that they're trying to get as well. It's all really interesting. But of course, we know count 1, that's going to be the RICO charge. 27 through 29, armed robbery, hijacking a motor vehicle, possession of a firearm by a first offender. And then we've got 31 through basically 39, which are all gang related charges, theft by taking, attempted murder, possession of a firearm, participation in criminal street gang activity. And then last but not least, we've got 47 and 48, which is going to be conspiracy to commit a crime and participation in criminal street gang activity. Yikes.
All right. And if he were to proceed to trial and be convicted of all counts, in addition to everything running consecutively, so that it would be, I'm sorry, I think you said 2 life sentences plus 100 and how many?
It's 165 years.
165 years.
Yeah, you don't shoot a
That
cop.
time could also be run consecutively
In case
to
y'all
the
didn't know.
time
Don't do
that
that.
Mr. Eppinger is already serving on whatever he's convicted of already. Have you explained that, Mr. Johnson, to Mr. Eppinger?
Yes, Your Honor.
You understand that, Mr. Eppinger? Okay. All right. And was there something else you wanted to say?
No, just based on the circumstances, I came to the podium to
Okay.
make an announcement. But given the state's offer, Your Honor, at this time we would reject that offer based on our view our view of the evidence in this particular case.
All right.
No kidding.
So yes, we would reject that matter and like to proceed to trial.
All right. And once I get through everybody, or maybe everybody we can get through right now, I'll talk about trial dates. And I'll talk with y'all first about in the immunity hearing date as well. All right. Thank you.
Your Honor, I believe that motion can be held as close to trial as possible.
Well, it could be, but I'm not interested in doing that. I'm interested in getting that taken care of as soon as possible.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Not December, though. Not that soon. Okay.
Benjamin said 45 years and eligible for parole is a win, in my opinion, for the young man. Oh, hell no. Benjamin, come on, man. That is not a win. In this case specifically, a win would be not guilty. Anytime in 45 years in prison, I mean, that is not a win. Jeez. I got to disagree with you on that one.
Have we covered everybody other than Mr. Minder at this point? Yes. All right. So let's talk about then the number of witnesses. I would think maybe about 4 or so for the immunity motion.
Cameron sucks.
None? Okay.
Your Honor, as far as witnesses in the case, I believe the only witness that may be necessary is the
You can pick it up. It's not.
Is the complaining officer, Your Honor. That would probably be
Okay.
best.
Well, there are 2 officers who got shot.
Well, actually, there's only one who got shot. There's another.
Well, one who got shot at and one who got shot. You're right. I stand corrected on that.
So
your motion is just with regard to
Yeah, he
the
has to
one
be
who
found
got
not
shot?
guilty.
no, Your Honor.
I didn't think so.
No, it is related
Okay.
to both, but the other witness is not necessarily important for the
Okay.
motion.
All right. So that should be able to be taken care of in what, 4 hours at most?
I would imagine no more than an hour.
I mean, I'd think 2, but half a day at most, right?
I don't even think it'll take that long, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get that scheduled then.
I guess
All right, what date are we gonna do,
my
Judge
angry with the
Whitaker?
court and counsel would be, it's the burden of the defendant to show that he's acting in self-defense. Typically, you don't call the complaining witness or the victim to establish your intent and how you're acting in self-defense.
I mean, if he wants, whomever he wants to call, he can call. And I get that. So do you think you'd be calling your client? Because it sounds like the state does not intend to call any witnesses.
Understood, Your Honor. It may be a situation
Interesting.
where I may call my client
Okay.
after discussion with him, and it may be a situation where we may the calling of the witnesses is just necessary for the introduction of the video, and we can make arguments based on that, Your Honor.
Okay.
Wow, that's wild. So the state's not going to call any witnesses. They're just going to roll the film. Yeesh. What do y'all think about Christian Eppinger and his chances at this? Seems like it's going to be an uphill battle. Excuse me. Seems like it's going to be a little bit of an uphill battle, and we're going to go back and review the video a little bit later, but they're not calling any witnesses. That's wild.
So let's look at sometime the week of January 13th.
It's fine with the state. If it's just the video, the state would stipulate to the video coming in, Your Honor, making a
Okay.
finding.
All
Yeah,
right,
that's what he just said. They're just going to show
I
the
don't know if
video.
you heard that, Mr. Johnson. If it's just the video, then the state would stipulate to it coming in. I think there were.
January 13th will be fine.
All right, let's do 10 a.m. January 13th.
Here it goes. Y'all mark the date. You know we'll be here for it.
Your Honor, I did file a response.
Yes, I saw that. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. And then with regard to the trial, we're at this point looking at potentially 4 defendants for this trial. Does the state have, the last time I asked, we still were facing 11 defendants. So do y'all have a revised estimate as to the time it would take to present the state's case?
I think it would be less than 90 days, but in an abundance of caution, instead of overpromising, I would say at the most 90 days.
All right. And when you say 90 days, you mean from the time we start presenting evidence till the time the state rests would be 3 months' time, not 90 days of trial time, right? Okay. Just making sure. All right.
What
and
about
then
this jury
obviously
selection,
defense
though?
Would evaluate the state's case
Jeez.
before determining whether they wish to present evidence. But any general idea what anybody thinks might get added on?
On behalf of Mr. Mender, if Mr. Mender was to go to trial, we would want 1 witness, and it would be, we would need a production.
Okay.
Boy, they hate these
Okay.
microphones. Killing me.
Mr. Johnson, and I'm not holding you to it now, I'm just trying to get kind of an estimate.
Your Honor, based on our view of the evidence.
I need you to pick up that mic, I can't hear you.
Based on our view of the evidence, Your Honor, I do not believe that we'll have any witnesses for Mr. Eppinger.
Okay, and obviously that's assuming that it proceeds past the immunity motion. All right, and then I'll hear from Mr. Dark. But
45
so we're
years is
talking
insane.
about probably still roughly 3 months. So 3 months is probably an overestimate on the state's case. Okay, so in terms of picking the jury, do y'all want to do jury questionnaires, or do you just want to have people in and do it all live?
Judge, I guess the question is how many jurors we anticipate calling in.
So, if this were a typical case, I wouldn't call more than 72, but
My experience is that they are more comfortable
Good luck
being
finding a jury
honest
for this
and
one.
letting their thoughts come out in the questionnaire.
in the questionnaire. Hang, excuse me.
Yes, it is, but being alive after shooting one cop and add another, you gotta fight,
All right,
man.
so I
35
know
years
that
of
at
fight,
least as
I'm
sort
fighting.
of a pilot
That's
project,
just me.
Jury Services here in Fulton has some, I don't know, tablet type things that jurors can answer the questionnaire electronically, but I think they basically like come in, but just sit and answer the questionnaire, and then we have them back another day for follow-up. So we could do something like that if everybody's amenable to that. Okay, and have y'all thought at all, I guess did y'all already go through at least part of jury selection in this
We did.
prior iteration? Some of you did and some of you didn't, right? All right, so, I would need to know what type questions y'all want. So can y'all by, let's say, January 20th, have the potential questions that you all want asked?
I can't wait. I hope we get to see these
But it was redundant.
Well, we don't want redundancy.
jury.
Well,
Jury
redundancy every
questions.
once in a while is a good idea, but I
That'd
want
be
to be
crazy.
efficient. Okay, so I'll pull and look at the last questionnaire, and if, y'all do the same, and if there are ones that you think we can strike, and any that you think we need to add, if y'all can just let me know that, and maybe we'll have, let's look and see what the 20th looks like. Maybe we can have, the 20th is the MLK holiday, so let's not do it that day. Let's do the 17th, which is the Friday before. Why don't we plan to just have like a status on, let's say 10 a.m. on the 17th of January, where we can, so if y'all would submit whatever kind of additions, deletions you would like to the jury questionnaire by close of business on the 16th. We'll meet on the 17th for a status.
Yeah.
And
I wonder who we're going to see as the prosecutors in this case.
everyone who is still wanting to proceed to trial at that point in time. And in addition, Mr. Dark. And then I know the state had proposed, did y'all say February 24th as the beginning of trial?
Yes, Judge.
I had been thinking, I mean, is that a trial day for us? We can.
We could make it one, but not sure.
I'll speak in Mr. Dark's place. He had sent an email after I had filed my motion. Apparently he may have leave filed on that day. I can't.
Let's find out whether he does.
Can we use the microphones, please? Good Lord. Brian B said the guy who was found not guilty on all charges is still in jail. Yeah, Yak. We got to get Yak out of there.
Anybody
Crazy.
else have any kind of an already filed conflict with beginning trial that day?
Judge, I don't see anything. I don't see a file leave.
Okay.
I have leaves, but
Is it already filed?
they are filed.
Okay.
But things can be rescheduled, so that's not an issue.
All right.
Does the court expect to have jury filling out questionnaires prior to the day that we're starting?
I mean,
Because there's a couple things that can happen.
Yeah.
So one is the questionnaire, and with Mr. Abadi at the table, it might be more efficient, but the questionnaires give rise for strikes for cause outgate. So if we can agree to ones that are clear, then we can at least dwindle down and not have to waste time on whether or not.
people who are clearly going to be stricken for cause.
Right. And I think those things, like, they can get the questionnaires done, we can.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think
Isn't
we
that
need
the
to
attorney
get the
that got in
questionnaires
trouble
back,
back in the
before
day?
we have them back for the, day of actual questioning
name?
or days, I don't know, of actual questioning. So,
Reading of the indictment is a day of us sitting there,
Isn't that Nicole Fegan?
multiple days.
Let's see what we can.
I mean, it may be that the state's not intending to go forward with all, however many overt acts it was before, 213 or
That's
something.
likely.
They may winnow down the indictment. Could you have that done before the 16th as well, or by close of business on the 16th?
That is her. Y'all want to know who this is? I knew this lady looked familiar.
Have them back.
Y'all know who this is? This is this is Nicole Fegan. Shout out to Nicole. Yeah. Oh, okay. Cat Not Williams is in here. Says, yeah, that is Nicole. Y'all know who Nicole Fegan is? Some of you may not know. Check this out. And this is
Calling all waterfowl enthusiasts.
second. We're gonna go through this ad. This is from February of this year. YSL RICO trial attorney arrested on a gang charge. What? This story is crazy. Check this out. Hold on.
We carry gator tail mud motors.
Oh, not the gator.
The area criminal defense attorney is on the other side of the law tonight. Atlanta police say she told a murder suspect to throw away evidence. Fox 5's Tyler Fingert has worked on this story all day. He joins us live in downtown Atlanta with the details. Tyler?
Yeah, Courtney, good evening to you. Nicole Fegan represents a defendant in the Young Slime Life gang case. Tonight, she is now in trouble herself. In fact, I've learned she is facing a gang charge. Atlanta area criminal defense attorney Nicole Fegan now needs a lawyer of her own after being arrested in Gwinnett County Friday and booked into the Fulton County Jail. Police say she told a murder suspect he was wanted and to ditch his phone. This stems from a September 2022 deadly shooting in downtown Atlanta. Atlanta police say she contacted a suspect in the case to tell him he was wanted and then told him to dispose of his phone. Detectives say Fegan was not representing the suspect she called and learned about the warrant during a court hearing related to the shooting.
You know you got a warrant, right? No, sir. All right, you got a warrant out of the city of Atlanta.
Besides Fegan, police have also arrested Keontae Davis in this case. It's
unclear
unclear if he's the suspect she called, but officers took him into custody last February after he was pulled over for rolling through a red light. This is body camera video from that arrest. Davis is accused of taking part in the deadly shooting, which police say started as an argument. One person was killed and another was injured in that case. Davis faces at least 2 charges, including murder.
I'm confident that you'll come back with a verdict that speaks the truth.
For Fegan, the allegations are a fall from grace for a defense attorney who has been considered a rising star. In a 2019
she's still killing it.
post, she shared this article about her from Atlanta Attorney at Law magazine that calls her the new generation of criminal defense attorneys. Fegan faces 2 charges: participation in criminal street gang activity and solicitation to tamper with evidence. Fegan represents YSL defendant Tenquarius Mender. And Fegan has been booked, but at this point we will not be getting her mugshot because of system issues related to that, related to the cyber attack that happened last month. We are live in downtown Atlanta tonight. Tyler Fingert, Fox 5 News.
All right, hey, shout out to Nicole, man. She's a real one. This is hilarious. I want to read through this article for y'all, but we'll get back to Judge Whitaker in a minute. Now, y'all give it up for Nicole. She is not playing around. Standing on business. Oh my gosh.
The, day of actual questioning or days, I don't know, of actual questioning.
That's crazy.
So
Reading of the indictment is a day of a civil matter.
I said YSL Becky standing on business.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
Let's see what we can.
I mean, it may be that the state's not intending to go forward with however many overt acts it was before, 213 or something.
Likely.
They may winnow down the indictment. Could you have that done before the 16th as well, or by close of business on the 16th? Okay. And I was going to say there's no reason to read the substantive counts that are against defendants other than these 4 or whomever it ends up being. But they may be overt acts anyway, but we wouldn't need to read the counts, even if they were included as overt acts. Yep. So, it would be a redacted indictment that we read.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, we'll talk in more detail on the 16th. On the 17th about that, about, what date we're going to have jurors in, how many jurors we think we need to call, things like that. Okay.
And Kat's saying that
I know there are no, other than the immunity motion, no outstanding motions, but are there going to be motions in limine, evidentiary kind of things that have not already been resolved? I need y'all to think about that and get all of those filed by January 16th as well. Okay.
Are these pictures of Nicole real?
Actually, if y'all could get those filed by the 15th, that would be good. And then I could be taking the 16th to start looking at them, and maybe we could talk through some of them on the 17th.
Can we have a deadline for a discovery Dropbox link?
I would sincerely hope that all the discovery has been shared by now.
I know they're working on consolidating some of the new stuff that came out as it relates to during the trial.
Okay.
But that shouldn't take very long. I know Mr. Dark has received the majority of, it's just taken a minute, it's over 8 terabytes file for Mr. Dark. So that's been the focus. But I will make sure.
Yeah, so if y'all, if you, the state, could put together your narrowed, cold, focused discovery.
It'll be, yes.
Can you get that? When do you think you could get that to all the defendants? Because even if they have everything, they'd probably rather have the smaller universe of things.
Oh no!
The first week of January, is that appropriate?
Yeah, that works.
Hold on, Nicole is a G. Y'all check this out. This is hilarious. Oh, we gotta let Nicole get her shine. This video, this is insane. I forgot about all this. Look at this. Wait, I'm not done. Oh, it's crazy. Yo, go ahead, Nicole. Hold on. I got some more. Look at Nicole at the Trap Museum here in Atlanta. Look at her. Look at this. Can y'all see this?
These niggas lacking.
This is insane. What's up, Mel? Kat says she just got an acquittal for someone facing 26 counts, 2 murders, and a bunch of gang charges. Yo, Nicole. It's a G. Oh man, it's still going. Look at this. This is hilarious, man. I think Mr. Mender is in good hands. Oh my gosh.
So that would be. Find my calendar again.
Oh,
January
man.
3rd.
That's crazy.
By close of business, January 3rd.
That is insane.
All right, anything else we need to think about right now? All right, everybody else, I'm going to go ahead and release Mr. Abadi. Obviously, you'll need to stick around, and we had an anticipated 11:30 arrival time for Mr. Dark, so we'll hold on to Mr. McMullen as well, and then once we have Mr. Dark, we'll reconvene for his final plea and to discuss with him the deadlines we've set. Was there something else, Ms. Fegan? Oh, sure, yes, I'm sorry, you did mention that.
And I think that was it from Judge Whitaker. Well, I can't wait to see how this goes. We get to see Nicole in action. Y'all let me know what you think about this, man. Christian Eppinger specifically. I was mentioning in the comments and in the chat, if you're looking at either 45 years and 100 and something other years, you gotta fight. You really don't have an option, in my opinion. You don't want to take that 45 years laying down. And to me, it just seems like a death sentence, even if you're 20 years old. I mean, how many of these guys are making it through 45 years in prison? I don't know. But what's going to happen with the rest of these defendants? We kind of went through and looked over the indictment and saw what they're looking at. I want y'all to let me know in the comments and in the chat. Wow. A shout out to Nicole, man. I should have kept that. I should have kept that video up. Yo, Nicole is tripping. That is hilarious. We gotta do a special segment on Nicole one day. Oh man. Amy says she looks like the gang expert for real, unlike Big Burrito. Oh man. I can't believe she's wilding like that. Jeez, man. We got a couple of super chats in here I want to read too. Thank y'all for the super chats. Oh my gosh. We had Amber Rain in here making it rain with the 5 bomb. Says good morning chat and classy. And I gotta turn this sound back down. Hold on a second. What does Amber Rain say? She says, good morning chat and classy. Shout out to Amber Rain up in here. Appreciate you for the 5 bombs. Also Tracy Fegan says, I would want to get away from Eppinger far and fast. Oh man. We got Mr. Brown in here with the 2 bomb as well. Appreciate you, sir. Just showing some love. Rice Street says, please help me stop the trafficking of Norwegian meerkats. Is that a thing? Shout out to Rice Street. And then Amber Rain in here again, making it rain, gifting 5 memberships. If you got a membership from Amber Rain, please make sure that you say thank you. And Nana Banana is in here as well. Became a new member. Welcome to the member side, Nana Banana. Oh my gosh. Yeah, y'all are rocking with Nicole, huh? Nicole gonna drop a track about the ops, love, and Fanny. Yeah, she needs to get in the studio with Shannon now that Shannon's out, which Shannon is officially out, by the way. Just one quick update there. And then Kathy said this morning that Kathy over at Law and Crime says, I've had a lot of inquiries this morning. I'm hearing Diamante Kendrick, aka Yak Gotti's hearing this morning before Judge Whitaker was continued. It was supposed to be an arraignment. Okay, so I don't believe we're going to be able to find the video on that, but they might actually have everything figured out with Yak Gotti. So I'll keep you guys updated as we go throughout the show, and maybe we'll be able to see something here. Let me double check and see if I can find anything. Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody that's covering this live, so we'll just have to give you the updates. Rice Street said, I'm sad to say I'm going into rehab for my cucumber core water addiction. I can't stop drinking it. I don't know why I read these comments. Y'all be tripping, man. Yak is the greatest rapper of all time.
Stop the cap.
Y'all need to relax on that. Also, we're gonna get into it here in a second, but oh boy, this one's gonna be interesting. I don't know if y'all saw this yesterday, but we've kind of got a weird situation with what's going on with Yak Gotti. Speaking of Yak Gotti, let me change the headline here. Yak is in a little bit of a weird place right now because, as we saw yesterday during his initial hearing, something came up, and apparently there was this warrant out for Yak Gotti that nobody knew about. Kayla didn't know about, the judge didn't know about, and the state seemingly was kind of like, hey, what's going on? So nobody knew about it until at the moment the probation officer spoke on it. So we're going to review this here and go back and look at it. And then we're going to hear a little bit from Max and Kayla as to what's going on. Now, the story is that it's looking like this may be something that the state did last minute just so they could keep Yak Gotti in prison, which is crazy because he is the one defendant that we've seen recently that was found not guilty on all charges. Murder, not guilty. RICO, not guilty. And this innocent man is sitting in jail for no reason, which is absolutely insane. So hopefully they'll continue to get that worked out, and we'll look at the status of his bond hearing today or this morning with Judge Whitaker. We should have some news soon, but let's go back and do a little bit of a rewind and see the moment it happened, and then hear from Max and Kayla on the situation as well.
But could you pop your mic on and say hi?
Hi, can you hear me, Your Honor?
Okay, yeah, it didn't work again. It's not on your end, it's something happening here, because everyone who is not in court can hear what you're saying. I'll ask Mr. Rao about criminal history, but if the tech folks show up in time to fix it, that would be great. And I'll look in what's in the chat. Oh, okay. Thank you, Officer Evans. Mr. Kendrick has a warrant from DCS, so that complicates things as well. But let me hear your presentation and then I'll get the warrant out to everyone.
And that was the moment we saw Kayla looked at him. She said, "What?
These niggas lacking."
We saw it live. She turned her head and was like, huh? You know about a warrant? I'm 1000% sure that's what she asked him. And Yak is probably like, no. And that's because the warrant was allegedly, I don't know for sure, but allegedly issued that day and nobody knew about it.
Yes, Judge. The defendant stands before you having been indicted on two separate cases, which opposing counsel presented to the court.
They're talking about it right now.
Aggravated assault, aggravated battery occurred on June 17th of this year, where the defendant is alleged to have been the main perpetrator amongst 7 co-defendants who have also been indicted, to my understanding, performing essentially a vicious beating and assault on a fellow inmate, Detrell Wembley, causing severe lashes to his back by using electrical cords to essentially whip the victim in that particular case, causing bruises both to his back, neck, as well as his face.
So I'm a little familiar with that case because there's a co-defendant, Mr. Thomas,
nasty
who
work,
had a very, very old murder. You know the history of that. It's a lot of co-defendants, and I'm wondering if you are able at this juncture to dissect that case enough to say, and we're particularly concerned because Mr. Kendrick had a lead role versus he held the door open with his foot, because my understanding, just from hearing a little bit from Mr. Thomas's co-defendant, Thomas's lawyers, is that not all, and they weren't acknowledging that anything happened, but that not all of the co-defendants were equally situated. And I think that has an impact on how to think through what bond would look like.
That's correct, Judge. And I think that's an accurate statement that not all defendants were similarly situated. What is clear from the Fulton County Sheriff's Office's investigation is that the defendant is the main perpetrator behind the assault on the victim in this particular case. Between 7:55 p.m. On the night of June 16th up until 8 a.m. the following morning is when the assault is alleged to have occurred. And the reason why they're able to provide that time frame is because in that surveillance video that they observed, Mr. Kendrick appears to be the main perpetrator going into the cell where the victim was, and he remained there the entire time. And by he, I mean the victim. The victim remained there.
Got it. Let me pause you for 1 second. IT thinks they fixed the situation. Let's try Officer Evans. Officer Evans, can you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is the tough thing. This is the tough thing about this situation, because unfortunately, jail politics do not supersede the law. And Yak said, as we're going to hear later from the state, Yak said, oh, well, I got to do this because I can't just have dudes in here stealing my stuff. They're not going to respect me. Things aren't going to go well for me. So I got to do this. I got to put the law into my own hands, which is unfortunate. But the state's going to see it a different way, and the law does too.
Look at that. It's better. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ms.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Somehow that device's volume got turned down, but we're back. All right. So your view from a review, your perspective from a review of the evidence is that Mr. Kendrick would have been the lead, if you will, on the assault. I'm going to call it the assault case.
That's correct. And in addition to that, the Sheriff's Office had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Kendrick. And essentially there's a lot of commotion in the background because it's on a body camera footage. But they were able to secure a statement from Mr. Kendrick and
Mr. Kendrick or from Mr. Wimberly?
Both, but with respect to Mr. Kendrick, it's essentially he's saying, what else am I going to do? It's about respect. They're stealing my stuff. I got to do something. So I would disagree with the assertions that this is just a battery. And I think I'm more than happy to share the photographs with the court, and the court can make that judgment as well. But we are respectfully asking, in conclusion, that the court deny bond in both cases. I will recite to the court the defendant's criminal history. He does in fact have 3 prior convictions, one out of Maricopa County, for which he was convicted for theft by shoplifting and possession of drug paraphernalia on April
Has nothing to do with
9th,
this.
2015. The defendant then subsequently secured a conviction for felon in possession of a firearm. This appears to be a federal case that was prosecuted by the Northern District of Georgia, from my understanding of the NCIC and GCIC, for which he was sentenced on February 22nd, 2017. And I do see at least a probation violation on 2020. There wasn't any further information as to why, whether it was a technical or substantive violation. Then on August 28th, 2017, the defendant was convicted in a Fulton County Superior Court case, indictment number 15 SC 140116, and was convicted of 6 charges: conspiracy to commit aggravated assault, participation of criminal street gang activity.
Conspiracy. There we go with the BS conspiracy.
These niggas
again.
lacking.
It's tough out here, man. Y'all stay out of jail. Please stay on this side of the law.
Theft by
Good
receiving, violation of the Georgia Controlled Substance Act, fleeing and attempting to elude, and possession of a firearm by convicted felon. In that particular case, the defendant was found to be in possession of a .40 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun, as well as an AK-47 in a vehicle, where he and his co-defendant in that particular case were on their way to a rival gang member's territory to commit a retaliation assault based on some prior actions. And that is the statement of Mr. Kendrick himself to law enforcement during the investigation of that particular case.
Can you give me that case number again, please?
Yes, Your Honor. 15 SC 140116. And it does appear that he is on active probation for that particular case, having been sentenced to a 15 years to serve 2 sentences, with the balance of the first 8 years on probation, with the remaining last 5 years being suspended. In addition to that, Judge, we believe the defendant is a risk to reoffend based on his criminal history. We believe he's a danger to the community based on the fact that when he was arrested on May 9th, 2022, in between May 9th, 2022 and this day, the defendant has at least 13 reported jail incidents while in the custody of the Fulton County Sheriff's Office. Of those 13 incidents, 10 are allegations of violence and 3 are allegations of possession of contraband. And those include the indicted cases before the court today, which the defense is seeking a bond hearing.
Up to the judge.
Many of those cases, there are other witnesses that came forward, including the most recent one on December 1st, 2024, where the allegations that the defendant was stabbed. Well, he was stabbed, and according to what another witness said, both a correction officer and an inmate, because the defendant went up to the inmate and started assaulting him. And I guess from the inmate's perspective, he needed to defend himself. Not that I agree that he should have been in possession of a weapon in the jail, but those are the allegations that have been put forth in this particular case. And every single one of
Did he say he agrees that he should have been in possession of a weapon?
What? Said both a correction officer and an inmate, because the defendant went up to the inmate and started assaulting him. And I guess from the inmate's perspective, he needed to defend himself. Not that I agree that he should have been in possession of a weapon in the jail, but those are the allegations that have been put forth in this particular case. And every single one of those acts, violent incidents that the jail has reported, the defendant, through investigation as well as testimony or statements from other inmates, have pointed him to being the perpetrator of the assault. And so while I certainly understand everyone is talking about the conditions of the jail, Exhibit A is before you as to why it's unsafe. So, Judge, we're respectfully asking the court to deny bond. We believe that the defendant is a danger to the community, a risk to reoffend, and a potential risk of flight given the circumstances of his arrest on May 9th, 2022, when he fled the scene after a search warrant was executed on the residence where the defendant was at the time.
How's fleeing the scene?
Do you have
a danger
any
to the
visibility into whether your office is going to be bringing other cases from these other incidents. And I ask not to press or speed anything, but more so for a management, frankly. I mean, Ms. Bumpus needs to know what she and her client are up against. And I know that your office exercises discretion and doesn't indict every little scuffle that happens at the jail. Is it safe to assume that your office has filtered through that and we've got the two cases, the contraband and the assault? Or what's your sense? I know you're not committing the office, you're not in that unit, but you do have some managerial perspective.
From my understanding, Judge, there is one unindicted case that's been brought to our office. So I'm going to take a look at that and make a determination. With respect to the other ones, without committing anything to the court, I don't believe we will be going forward on any of those.
Okay, so they would be at most, if Mr. Kendrick would go to trial, could be 404B or could be linked to one of these other situations. Or it would be something in aggravation at a bond hearing or at a sentencing hearing.
That's
is
correct.
Your best forecast, with maybe one exception.
That's correct.
Okay, all right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you. Ms. Bumpus, want to give you the last word.
Yeah, and it's tough here. Caleb mentions it. It's just a hard situation for him to be in, not only because he was just defending himself in jail, but all these charges that the state is bringing up, especially the violent ones, they happened over a decade ago. So he's not the same person. I think he's shown that. And I don't know, fleeing the scene or whatever BS they were trying to get him on, I don't think it applies. It should apply. We'll see what the judge says.
I'm going to not be able to rule immediately because I need to look into the probation situation that was just brought to all of our attention. And certainly want to understand that before I do something on this.
Yes, Judge. And it is my understanding that the allegation of the likelihood of reoffending, I just want to revisit that because the last time that my client committed a crime was in 2015, 10 years ago. And well, minus these jail cases.
Right. I don't know the federal one. It sounds like that was resolved in 2017, but that doesn't mean it wasn't 2014 conduct.
Your Honor, it's the feds picked up this state case. So they're not two separate crimes.
Got it.
This 2015 is the federal case.
All right. So there just was dual sovereigns and Mr. Kendrick got squeezed in both places.
Yes, Judge. So not two separate acts. And me saying that,
state trying to play games.
I don't know if this brings any or can help us get clarity on the warrant, because my client's understanding is that the federal probation then trumped the state probation, and he was to be reporting to federal probation because they had taken over this case.
Well, I don't think legally it would be that the state probation goes away. There's supervised release. That's what they call it on the federal side. And it may well be that Mr. Kendrick had a very clear understanding with DCS, state probation. Hey, you report to those federal folks. But that doesn't mean there wasn't a probation clock ticking and running throughout. And so what's been brought to my attention is that there may be a probation warrant situation as a result of these two cases. So as is par for poor Mr. Kendrick, everything's all connected. And so it may be deemed a violation of his state probation from the 2015 case that he got mixed up with having contraband and was allegedly part of the assault of Mr. Wimberly. And you know that. Yeah,
and this is still, again, some BS. Everybody just found out about it just now. There's no reason that this all should be and could be connected. Kayla's going to speak on it in this press conference she did with Max. It seems like the state is just playing some really dirty, nasty tricks. And this does not go against Kayla. She did her job. This just came out of the blue and nobody knew what happened, where this warrant was. They hadn't seen it before. As y'all have seen, you can't even search and find this warrant that they're talking about. So we're going to let the news unfold or the evidence unfold over the next couple days. We'll see what the results of this hearing will be, and maybe we'll get more information from that. Here's Max Shart, and this is over on Amy's channel. So y'all make sure you go show Amy some love and subscribe to her channel. She's over there killing it. Just hit 10,000 subscribers. And she dropped this video this morning from the press conference from Kayla and Max, and Kayla's going to address what happened with Yak Gotti's warrant too.
In consultation with my client, we had those discussions, but I think for the time being, it's my belief that that is what's best. Sometimes
thank you, Kat.
A change of scenery is important, and we're hopeful that a change of scenery and the continued support of so many people will lead to a happy ending to this story.
Do you know what state he plans to live in?
I'm not going to share that information.
Did the Alfred plea play a factor into accepting the plea in the negotiations? If that wasn't on the table, would you have been amenable to another plea where he still would have been free, but not?
Well, the no contest to the gang act charges was important to us. We just sat through a trial for the last couple years where we've been bemoaning the fact that people have pled guilty to gang act charges when there was no indication that whatever was done was in furtherance of any gang. So I didn't want to turn around and do the same thing. So it was important that was accepted as a no contest plea. Certainly in a situation like this, and I thought ADA Sperry said it well in court, time was of the essence. There was really no reason for Shannon to continue to sit at 901 Rice Street to wait for the lawyers to figure it out. So we were appreciative of the state for agreeing to that resolution and that no contest plea.
We had to talk between courtrooms, obviously, to get their heads.
Right.
Ms. Bumpus, can you talk about the conclusion, well, not really the conclusion, but what
yeah, it's Dennis out there.
Decided or not decided for your part?
Well, as you know, Judge McBurney made a decision to defer in making a decision based off of a potential probation warrant. I don't think the state knew about it or the judge knew about it, and I definitely did not know about it. So it was something that was a surprise to all of us and something that is still being confirmed.
Oh, so you didn't know going in that it was a warrant, because you would have been obviously prepared for that.
Judge McBurney said from the bench that he was told from probation about the warrant. The state did not know about the warrant. Well, it's my understanding they did not, and the judge did not know about the warrant either.
So what is that like? What do you think of that?
It's messed up, man. Yeah, and hopefully that'll get settled today. I think Kayla did a good job. She did the best she could, and I think she made a great argument as well before Judge McBurney. Also, I mean, again, y'all have to keep in mind, she didn't know about this, as she said. Nobody knew. Nobody knew. So they'll be in with Judge Whitaker this morning. I'm going to keep you guys updated on if he's able to get out. Hopefully we can get Yak out of here before Christmas. We'll just have to, I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. But they say that Kayla has a great reputation when it comes to bond and getting these dudes out of jail. Woody mentioned it during his testimony. So hopefully Yak will be the next one. Y'all let me know what you think. And shout out to everybody who's dropping all the super chats in here too. I see y'all with the super chats showing love. Thank you to Gigi, says, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being here, Gigi. We also had Tracy in there dropping the 2 bombs, said some gang, they were all broke. Yeah, where's all the money, man? Les Cleaver says, Merry Christmas. God bless you all. Free Yak. Yeah, hopefully Yak gets out of there today. At least get him the bond. Yeah, it's crazy. He's being held because of something he did while he was trying to protect himself in prison. But again, or in jail. But again, that's the law is messed up, y'all. Stay on this side of the law, please. Merry Christmas to you, says Steph Annie. And says, thank you for your coverage with the 10 bomb. Thank you so much for the super chat, Steph. I appreciate you. And again, y'all make sure you go and subscribe to Amy's channel. Go subscribe to Cat Not Williams. Thanks to Amy for dropping the link to Cat's YouTube channel in there as well. Y'all go watch every single video that Cat has over there and subscribe, hit the notification bell, like it. And the same thing for Amy too. Y'all go show some love and support. If it's a crime, if he's not, yeah, I mean, I don't know. What time And will it be televised, says Michael L. I think you're talking about the hearing for Yak Gotti. No, it will not be televised. And it's allegedly took place at 9 o'clock this morning, which, you know, Fulton County time, that means 9:30, 10 o'clock. So we'll just have to wait and see. Yeah, some of y'all are saying you saw that people look for the warrants. They can't find them. I can't find them. I mean, it seemed like the judge just had a piece of paper or he got a phone call and they said, yeah, he's got a warrant. And he says, okay, well, he's got to stay in jail until we figure this out. Like, how is that the case? Steph says she just subscribed to both. Thank you for that, Steph. I think we're going to get into, oh man, I've got a couple of good stories I want to get into. Let me see what y'all are thinking. Do y'all want to do a rewind on Christian Eppinger, or do you want to talk about what's going on with Jay-Z? Because we've got some more Jay-Z news in here too. This whole Jay-Z case is crazy. So I want to see, I'm going to ask y'all, what do y'all want to do? Because Tony Busby is not backing down. He's taking some more shots at Jay-Z, and they're going back and forth. Christian Eppinger, I know y'all know a little bit about that. We're going to cover both, but I want to see what y'all want to do first. And actually, speaking of Cat Not Williams, shout out to Cat Not Williams. She covered this yesterday and dropped the link over on X. If y'all aren't following Cat on X, please make sure you do that. And she went into talking about Christian Eppinger's motion for immunity, which we haven't had a final decision on yet, but we might talk about this a little later, as well as going into why he's here in the first place. Y'all are saying Jay-Z, Eppinger. I see mostly Jay-Z, so we'll go with Jay-Z first. All right, let's get into it. Let me change this headline here. And I've actually got some breaking news for y'all too. This is great. This is insane. Hold on, let me see if I can fix this. Oh man. Here we go. What is the breaking news? Shout out to XXL Magazine over here. We've got some breaking news about, I don't know whose guy this is, but this man, Tony Busby, I don't know where to stand on Tony. This whole back and forth between Tony and Jay-Z and Alex Spiro has been crazy, because XXL Magazine says attorney Tony Busby has filed a lawsuit against Roc Nation and lawyers Marcy Croft and Quinn Emanuel for what he says are violations of various state laws, including impersonation of a public official. Oh my gosh. Busby alleges that they are intending to obstruct justice and prevent the Busby law firm for pursuing cases related to the Diddy allegations in New York. Busby claims their conduct was caught on tape. Oh, this is getting bad. This is bad. Tony Busby says today the Busby law firm filed suit against Roc Nation and lawyers Marcy Croft and Quinn Emanuel for violation of various state laws, including barratry. I don't even know what that is. And impersonation of a public official. The case was brought on behalf of a former client of the firm who was illegally solicited by agents working on behalf of the defendants. We heard about this from Alex Spiro, and we're going to get into that here in a second. But he says, I don't know what they're talking about, but it has nothing to do with me or Jay-Z. But let's keep it going. This illegal conduct has happened more than 24 times to date and has resulted in 2 utterly frivolous cases against the firm. The lawsuit filed today alleges that the defendant's conspiracy is intended to obstruct justice and prevent the Busby law firm for pursuing cases related to the Diddy litigation in New York. The conduct isn't just alleged, it was caught on tape. Oh, mama. Defendant Marcy Croft, who describes herself on social media as part of Team Roc, is orchestrating the conspiracy along with assistance from defendant Quinn Emanuel. As you see from the screenshot, Croft, Quinn Emanuel, and Roc Nation have a long working history. That's the suit alleges defendant Roc Nation is financing the illegal effort. As set forth in the lawsuit earlier this week, agents acting on Cross behalf again were caught on tape soliciting and offering money up to $10,000 to former clients of the Busby law firm to convince them to file a frivolous case against the Busby law firm. Well, we don't know if it's frivolous or not. Tony, your reputation is not looking great right now. So saying something that's frivolous, I don't know. Innocent until proven guilty, though, right? We'll see. These folks have now stooped to a new low to try to intimidate the lawyers of the Busby law firm by doing their important work, or from doing their important work. They now are contacting clients and former clients and actually offering them money to sue me. This conduct was specifically targeted at our firm, so we would not pursue cases related to the Diddy litigation. Well, that's speculation. We don't know that. Let me be clear. We will not be bullied or intimidated. The defendants this time overstepped, got sloppy, and stupidly got caught at their legal scheme on tape. We have reported this conduct to the authorities and intend to cooperate with the authorities to ensure all involved are prosecuted to the full extent allowed under the Texas law. So Tony Busby again is taking shots back at Jay-Z and Rock Nation. I don't know if there's anything to this. They say they have the evidence. They say have the tape. We'll have to wait and see. But Alex Spiro finally speaks out. Jay-Z's attorney, he holds an entire press conference where he goes through the claim filed against Jay-Z, or the claim that Jay-Z was now, the amended claim Jay-Z was mentioned in, that says he, another celebrity, Celebrity B, a female celebrity, and Diddy were in a room where this 13-year-old was assaulted. So let's get into it. Shout out to CNN for this. Oh gosh, it pains me to say shout out to CNN, but CNN has been on it lately. We'll see what they have to say about this. And then thanks to Amy, we'll be able to see the full press conference from Alex Spiro. Let's go.
Jay-Z's attorney says the sexual assault claim against the hip hop mogul is false. A woman has accused Jay-Z of raping her at an after party for the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards when she was 13 years old. But attorney Alex Spiro says the allegations are, quote, all a fantasy. CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister has the latest from New York.
Jay-Z's attorney is doubling down on a denial that his client ever raped a 13-year-old girl. Now, Jay-Z has already fiercely denied these accusations, and his legal team has already asked the court to dismiss this case entirely. But now, for the first time speaking to reporters since these accusations came out, Jay-Z's attorney, Alex Spiro, held a press conference of sorts. There was a private meeting at Jay-Z's Rock Nation offices in New York City where CNN was invited to watch a presentation put on by Jay-Z's attorney, where he had a PowerPoint where he showed different details that he says disprove Jane Doe's case. Let's take a look at some of what he said.
This is not an account of inconsistencies. I wanted everybody to understand that this never happened. This is completely false. You have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the timeline. So there's an old expression that time doesn't lie. Everything else that I'm talking about, these glaring inconsistencies, these are not minor inconsistencies. These are not minor problems with this story. This is utter falsehoods.
Yeah, he's right.
Time never lies.
That's bad.
And so if you look at the time, no matter what, this couldn't have happened. It's not even possible that this happened.
Now, as you heard there, Jay-Z's attorney saying that these aren't just inconsistencies in Jane Doe's case. He's saying that the entire thing is false. In fact, he says it's not even possible that Jay-Z was there. Now, if we go back to Jane Doe's initial complaint, she alleges that she was raped by both Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs at an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards in the year 2000. Now, this after party, she said, was held at a White House that was outside of the city. Well, Jay-Z's attorney actually showed photos of Jay-Z that night at an after party, but it was in New York City. So he says, if you look at the timeline, it's not possible that Jay-Z was in the suburbs at this alleged after party because he was photographed being somewhere else. Now, in her—
Yes, and we saw some pictures from our very own Dennis Byron. He was at the party in 2000. He said, I took pictures. He showed the pictures he took. If y'all haven't seen that video, go check out the live stream that Dennis did. He was there. He saw Jay-Z, he saw Diddy, and he said they were at the party until well after 3 a.m. in the morning, which makes another instance to where this story or this claim could be impossible.
Her initial complaint, Jane Doe, also said that she got to this alleged after party by getting into a limo from a driver outside of the MTV VMAs who said that they worked for Sean Combs. Well, today, Jay-Z's attorney is saying that's not possible because the limousine line was barricaded by the police and fans were not able to access it. Now, I reached out to Jane Doe's attorney. His name is Tony Busby. He says that he is representing over 120 accusers of Sean Diddy Combs. This is the first accuser to come forward and name Jay-Z, but he tells me that he stands by his client. He says that they are still vetting her, but when I asked about the vetting process, here's what he told me. He said that 4 individuals at his firm interviewed the client and checked details. He says that a background check was run on Jane Doe and that his firm actually engaged a seasoned investigator to vet some details she disclosed to us, and he said, quote, those results were consistent with what the client had told us.
How is that so? We also engaged a seasoned investigator to vet some of the details she disclosed to us. Listen, y'all, I am nowhere near a seasoned investigator. And we figured out that this story was just some BS. We have a seasoned investigator and a seasoned investigative reporter, Dennis Byron, who's been in the industry for over 20 years, not only saying this doesn't make sense, but he said, I was there and this didn't happen. So I don't know what's going on with their seasoned investigator, but it's not looking great for him.
And he said, quote, those results were consistent with what the client had told us. He also says that she has signed 2 separate affidavits, and he tells me, quote, courts exist to resolve factual disputes. Our client remains adamant about her claim.
Well, we all know that's not true.
Stop the cap.
Because their client can't remain adamant about her claim if she was being interviewed by NBC and said, well, I may have forgotten some things. I could have gotten some things wrong. And then they talked to the dad and he said, yeah, I never picked her up from the party like she claimed in the actual legal document. It wasn't me. I don't know what's going on there. Let's get into this actual press conference, or this press briefing, they're calling it, from Alex in here. Alex Spiro. I was saying Spiro. This is one of the best press conferences or press briefings I've seen. It sounds like he's giving his closing arguments and he did an amazing job. Shout out to Amy for posting this. Y'all go make sure you check this out over on their channel. Here we go.
You have to look at different pieces of the narrative. The location, where it happened, the witnesses, who were they, what did they say, the details. The details are very important in time. So we start off with the location. And according to their complaint, after approximately 20 minutes, she arrived at a White House with a U-shaped driveway and a gate. There is no such location in New York, 20 minutes from Radio City. It does not exist. There is no such location. We don't know whether they created a location in order to try to get jurisdiction in New York so they could bring this case in New York, or whether they just didn't do their homework. But any New Yorker knows there is no such location. Beyond that, this was supposed to have taken place at Mr. Combs' after party, according to them. When you look at the homes associated with Mr. Combs during that period of time, and even not during that period of time, none of them matches. He had a townhouse, he had a house in the Hamptons hours away, and he had homes in New Jersey, but not at that time. None of the homes work, the location doesn't work, because this never happened. And again,
because it never happened.
When you really bear down on the location and his whereabouts, you quickly realize, because if there's photographic evidence and witnesses are coming forward, that Mr. Carter was at a commercial establishment after the VMAs. He wasn't at a house. Unfortunately for them, they needed to create this house in order to create the narrative. But he wasn't at a White House that did not exist. And this is a photograph of him at a location after the VMAs. So as we can continue through this, Jane Doe does not say that the assault happened at a commercial establishment. She can't. That wouldn't make any sense. Yet they
Correct.
stand by it. They double down, they triple down. White House, the White House doesn't exist. And then we get to the witnesses. And I think at the outset, everybody has to remember that in 24 years, not a single witness has ever come forward saying this happened. Quarter of a century. Think about that. She says she's at the party alone, this 13-year-old girl, and she finds herself in the room with the three most famous people at the party. Just think about how unnatural, how little common sense that makes. And according to her, one of the witnesses is a female celebrity who's just standing there watching the repetitive rape of a child. That celebrity does nothing, says nothing, reports nothing. And in fact, they won't even identify her. According to them, there's an adult female in the room watching the rape of a child. They refuse to identify her. So then we continue.
Well, I think we all know why they refuse to identify her. They're going to figure out who they can put in the room. Probably, hate to say names, Jennifer Lopez. Because she was with Diddy at the time, most likely in that case. And they're going to say, hey, J-Lo, you want us to bring this up and do this the hard way? Or you want to do this the easy way? Write out a check, please. Thank you. We know that's what they're waiting on because they did the same thing with Jay-Z. They had him in there as celebrity, what was it? Celebrity A, I believe. Diddy and then Celebrity A. They had him in there as Celebrity A initially. Tony Busby reached out and said, hey, Jay-Z, our client is saying that it was you in that room. You guys want to have a mediation and talk about it? Jay-Z said in 2000. Man, I wasn't even at a house in 2000. I don't know what she's talking about. And I definitely never did anything to a 13-year-old. We're not having a mediation. Forget about it. They said, oh, okay. The hard way it is. Amended claim. Jay-Z was the other person in the room and he participated and he went first. Oh my God. You know, they're doing the same thing with Celebrity B, whoever this might be. I think the B stands for BS.
Continue. And you look and there's celebrities that she says she's mingling with before. Afterwards, she says she runs out of the house naked. Runs out of the house naked. None of them notice that. None of them pay any notice. For 24 years, none of them has said anything. And so she's just asked in this interview, she's asked, well, I mean, celebrities are recognizable people. Surely you can tell us one celebrity that was there. Just give us one name so that we know this happened. And she says, okay, Benji Madden was there. And she wants to conjure up religion and say, I'm religious. I remember his tattoo. She looks and remembers so vividly the tattoo and the conversation with Mr. Madden. Well, Mr. Madden wasn't there. He already said he wasn't there. His tour schedule said he wasn't there. And he wasn't there because this never happened. None of this ever happened.
Because it never happened.
You keep going and you ask yourself, well, who is this complaining witness? She does not come forward with her real name. She proceeds under Jane Doe. There's no report to the police. According to her, she never tells anybody for 24 years. Not one person, not alone in the car for 5 hours at home.
Oh, well, I got to interrupt Alex here. Sorry, Alex. That's not true. She did tell one person. She told the friend. The friend knew what happened. But the friend is dead. Rest in peace. So there's that. And she told the dad, but the dad said it never happened. So, I mean, yeah, it's not technically true.
On her way home, not one person, not a diary, not a family member, not a friend. Most people, when this happens, there's a need to tell somebody. We call these prompt outcry witnesses. In most complaints like this, people tell somebody. She says nobody for 24, 25 years. And then we get to the details. And I want to make sure this is clear. When people make up an account, whether intentionally or their mind is playing tricks on them, they can always get that core part of the story right. They can just keep repeating it over and over and over again. This is what happened, that core part. But they're always going to mess up the details. When something isn't real, when something doesn't happen, you're going to get the details wrong because you weren't really there. And so she starts with her story about her friend that dropped her off. Okay? This drive of over 5 hours, the friend would have had to have gone 10 plus hours to drop her off because she's got to get there. If this is real, she's got to get there. But guess what? This friend of hers,
wow,
she doesn't get out of the car, right? Think about that. She's just leaving a 13-year-old girl alone in Midtown. She doesn't even want to get out of the car. She came all that way. There can't be a witness there. She can't have a witness there because this never happened. So as you keep going, you ask yourself, but how did she end up in the car in the first place? And so she creates this story. She says, I snuck out the window, right? But now we know she came from Rochester. So she would have been sneaking out of the window at 3 in the afternoon in the middle of broad daylight. Never heard of such a thing, defies common sense, doesn't make any sense because this never happened. And so she tells this story because she's got to create a way that she gets out of the house and ends up in New York City. And as we keep going here, the friend that implausibly leaves her there, there's then some pressure on that part of the story because it doesn't make any sense. And so the lawyer is asked, well, just produce the friend. And so he has to find somebody that can make this work. And of course, as soon as he's pressed, they find somebody who they say is no longer alive. They can't corroborate it, and there's nobody to talk to. Okay, and if we can keep going. Next slide. So she then gets there, right? And she has this vivid tale of watching it on a Jumbotron. It's in her complaint. Clear as day. There was no Jumbotron that year. Okay? I don't know whether they were Googling images and found the wrong year. I don't know whether she's just making it up out of whole cloth. There is no Jumbotron. In fact, they didn't even get a permit, according to the police and the city, for the Jumbotron that year. So that didn't happen. None of the details are right because this never happened.
Yep.
You keep going.
Never happened.
And then she says, I'm knocking on the doors and the windows of limousines and VIPs. Of course, that doesn't work either. If you look at the video, photographs, that whole area was blocked off. We've spoken to numerous people there that were in security. No one could have gotten anywhere near those cars because this never happened. She gets that fact wrong. And you know the whole story about, of all people, she knocks on Puff's window. 13-year-old girl in Midtown by herself. Just think about that. Think about how illogical that is. Keep going. Again, this is Eminem performing in the streets. No Jumbotron. All the cars barricaded. Her facts don't check out because this never happened. We can keep going. So what ends up happening then, and this is important, is her original account in the original complaint says that at 9:30 or 10, she's told to wait there to get a ride to the after party. Okay? That also doesn't work because there's photographs now of Mr. Combs, Mr. Carter at commercial establishments in New York after the VMAs. So this narrative of at 10 o'clock she ends up at this party can't work. They got caught. So they change it in the amended complaint that there's this multiple drop-off and pickup that lands them at this White House that doesn't exist. So as we continue, this is again her account of trying to change the story into this multiple drop-off period to get them at the house to deal with the fact that there's photographic evidence that that's not where the after party was in the first place. And so as this account continues, you have to look at the timeline. You have to look at the timeline. So there's an old expression that time doesn't lie. Everything else that I'm talking about, these glaring inconsistencies, these are not minor inconsistencies. These are not minor problems with this story. This is utter falsehoods. Time never lies. And so if you look at the time, no matter what, this couldn't have happened. It's not even possible that this happened. And this is so important. So again, now that we know that it's a 5-hour drive in each direction, how she gets to the VMAs, okay, we're going to talk in some detail about this White House and whether or not they could have gotten there. And then again, Joe returns home to Rochester, okay? And this is very important. Because she returns home, she has to leave the New York area by 1:30 in the morning at the latest, okay? If you look at any of these White Houses and you look at the closest gas stations that could be to any of these White Houses, you have to leave this White House party by 12:45. By 12:45, in order to get to the gas station at 1:30, to call your father to pick you up to get home to Rochester at 6:30. So remember, she only has till 12:45 for everything that she says to have happened. The VMAs end at after 11. So you're talking about a window of a little more than an hour that this could possibly have happened even by their own account. And she says, during that little bit more than an hour, not only does she get to the house, Not only is she inside mingling with celebrities, she has a drink. She's then sexually assaulted in front of an adult female multiple times. She gets out of that. She fights through it. She leaves the house naked. She gets all the way to the gas station. She had 37 minutes to possibly do this. Okay, even under their account. Okay, and of course, the biggest problem, perhaps of all, is there's photographs putting Mr. Combs and Mr. Carter at different places, not in a White House during that 37 minutes. So when I tell you that it's not just that this story is a lie and that it's not true, it's provably, demonstrably false. This never happened. So we talked about this 37 minutes. The earliest, even if we didn't have that establishments. Remember, this is innocence on top of innocence. Even if we didn't have that, according to her, the earliest they could have gotten to the house is 12:11. And the reason for that is if the VMAs end and the drive is 20 minutes, the driver has to go there, drop them off, come back, pick her up, bring her back. She can't get there. And again, this is lickety-split. This is as fast as is possible, okay? This is no traffic leaving Radio City in Midtown during an awards ceremony.
This story doesn't make any sense.
She has to leave that white residence by 12:48 in order for her father to pick her up at the gas station. 37 minutes, that's the entire window of opportunity here. So here again is the timeline, shows the 11:11 VMA's end, the drop-off, the pickup, and the drop-off. Next slide. And again, here we are. You see the 37 minutes. This is the 42 minutes it takes to walk. This is the closest gas station. And this is, remember this is a 13-year-old girl walking who has
so many holes in the story for real. Yes.
Maybe drugged, according to her, who's just been viciously raped multiple times, who was holding her own clothing trying to get to a gas station that she had never been before.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? No map, no cell phone, no nothing. Straight line, it's 42 minutes. Okay? The story doesn't work, it doesn't check out. Okay? This never happened. Next slide. These are all the things that they claim happened in that 37 minutes. Okay? And again, 37 is giving them every benefit of the doubt as how long this window could be. Every benefit of the doubt.
Mm-hmm.
But here's an even bigger problem. There are photographs of Mr. Carter and Mr. Combs at commercial establishments during the 37 minutes. They're not there. Even if you try to come up with the fastest possible timeline. I'm talking about no traffic, nobody getting in your way at the door, right to the bar kind of timeline. It still doesn't work because they had to leave Radio City. They had to go to the commercial establishments. Mr. Combs is photographed at 2 different commercial establishments with Jennifer Lopez, 2 establishments. They had to go to both of those establishments and get back to the White House. Get back to the White House before she has to leave at 12:30.
Couldn't happen.
None of this can work. And in fact, and I think this is very important, you will notice in the photographs that Miss Lopez changes clothing between the 2 events that they go to in New York City. You can see
that's a whole 2 hours right there.
One outfit and another. So she had to be able to, in this 40-minute window, get to multiple events. They're seen drinking, socializing. She has to change outfits, change her hair, all within 40 minutes to get to that White House in time. And you're saying to yourself, so that's not possible. You're right, it's not possible. It's because this never happened. And then we get to the end. She kept running until she reached a gas station. A female clerk noticed her, allowed her to use the phone. Plaintiff called her father, admitted that she had lied about her whereabouts. And this is a very small thing, very small. But remember, when you leave house and you're 13, you have to have a story. You either have to sneak out and not have a lie, or you tell your parents a lie. Sort of 2 options, right? Earlier, she says, well, I didn't tell my parents a lie. I just snuck out the window, right? Here, she says, well, I lied.
She told her,
See? Do you know what that means?
She's a liar. And she said she called her dad and told him, oh, Dad, I lied. I'm sorry. Please come pick me up and save me. And the dad said, yo, that never happened. Crazy.
That means she's lying even within her own story. They can't both be true. And I said earlier that no witnesses have come forward in basically a quarter of a century, except for one. Now there's one, her own father, the person who knows her best. And he came forward too, and he said, you know what? This never happened. This never happened. And his attention was drawn to it. You know, I feel like I would remember that. You know, and they said, but you've got a lot going on. Maybe you forgot this. You've got a lot going on. They told him, listen, you've got a lot going on. Try to see if they pressed him, if he stuck to his story. He said, yeah, I have a lot going on, but that's something that would definitely stick in my mind. Of course it would stick in your mind. You drove 10 hours to pick up your 13-year-old daughter in New York City. It's not something you would forget. It's not something that he did forget, because this never happened. And of course, just like the friend that couldn't be there at the beginning, you can't have a witness to something that never happened. When asked, well, what did you say to your father in the car? What did you talk about? Nothing. She says not a word was spoken. There can't be a conversation because this never happened. And so you got to ask yourself what's going on here, right? And you all saw that videotape of her being interviewed in the shadowy room. She's holding a teddy bear. She's talking about her issues, her head trauma. She's been through a lot in her life, you can tell. And so who took advantage of this? Why are we here? Why is this story getting created?
Tony.
And I'll tell you who took advantage of this.
Uh-oh.
This lawyer took advantage of this. That's what's going on here. And you can see here, now that this is starting to unravel and the truth is coming out, he's starting to walk away from it. He's saying, oh, sorry, this case was referred to our firm by another firm, so I didn't really check it out, is basically what he's saying.
Nasty work.
Right? He brings an accusation like this, attacks a man with the integrity of Mr. Carter, and all he has to say for himself now is, well, I didn't really check on this. I got a referral, trying to make a little bit of money, so we just went live with it. Next. Here is again the timeline that he went live with. In the face of this irrefutable, time doesn't lie evidence, he went live with it. And again, it doesn't work. This 37 minutes, it does not work.
Because it didn't happen.
It does not work because there's photographs. There's photographs. You can find them on the internet of them. They're changing clothes. She's changed clothes. Do you know how long that takes for her to go to 2 events, change clothes, get inside, have drinks, they're socializing, they're not popping into these events. To then get back out into the suburbs somewhere at a house that doesn't exist? It's not possible. Actually not possible. He is for sure innocent of this accusation. Next slide.
Because it didn't
But
happen.
you know, this lawyer, he doesn't care about things like this. The only other person he's brought a complaint against for just mere association, merely being at a Sean Combs party, he's already been wrong about that one too. He had to change that one. If you look at the next slide, he got the year wrong. He said there was a party in the Hamptons. Mr. Combs was in Saint-Tropez at the time. Didn't check out. 2 claims, neither are checking out. If we could keep going. And we have this, individuals calling my office telling me story after story, and I'm not going to get sidetracked. People think I'm going to start saying, explaining he's a grifter and all these things about him. I'm not here to talk about him more than I need to. But there's people calling the office saying, yeah, they were being pressured to say stuff, to say that they were with Mr. Combs. These are affidavits. They're filed in court. This is what you're dealing with here. Next slide. And so this is who took advantage of the woman in the shadowy video. He gives a press conference, 1-800 number, and he claims 2 days after posting that press conference, 2 days,
I saw it too.
that he has 120 fully vetted plaintiffs. 120. Anybody that does this for real, anyone that knows what they're doing, knows to corroborate, to interrogate, and to be sure about even one person takes weeks. One person. You've got to find out if their story makes sense. Did they really get dropped off? Does any of it check out? Is there corroboration? Are there any witnesses? It takes weeks for one. He had 120 in 2 days. When he files these cases, he doesn't even enter his notice of appearance. He just has some other lawyer file and he holds his press conference. He says, listen, anybody out there, just call the 1-800 number. If you can put yourself anywhere near a Sean Combs party at any point, we can go after the other celebrities there. We can make money together. Just call the 1-800 number. That's all you need to do. And then we'll send a letter to the celebrity. They're not going to want to have this in the public light, and they're going to be shaken down, and they'll send us money. So just call the number. And Mr. Carter said no. He said, it's not going to happen anymore. I'm going to put my foot down, and that's what he did. And I would urge any other celebrity that's being shaken down right now to do the same thing and to stand with truth. None of this ever happened. And what this 1-800 lawyer is doing, he's taking the justice away from this. He's destroying this opportunity and the voices of real victims, and it's got to end. So, are there any questions? Yes.
There are a couple of good questions here.
Your office, I'm assuming if it's not dismissed, like worst case scenario, and you guys move forward to try and show that everything you just told us, what evidence are you guys submitting other than the accounts they're giving you over the phone? Like, or do any of those people calling you have like emails between them and Busby or text conversations where they're encouraging this stuff?
Yeah, so let me divide that question into two if I can.
It's a good question.
We expect the case to be dismissed. If it's not, eventually this will all crumble because it can't possibly have happened mathematically. You don't even need witnesses. They don't have any witnesses because this never happened, and you don't need witnesses because the time doesn't work. You know, just, there's literally photographic evidence that proves that this could not have happened. In terms of what's going to happen to Mr. Busby for this racket and everything else going on, time will tell. But this is how things unravel. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
They're going to get him.
Flex Intelligence, and has your firm ever hired them in connection with Tony Busby to investigate Tony Busby as he's alleged?
I don't know that firm, don't know those people, and the answer is no.
So this might just be an extension of the first question, but you said that there were people calling saying they were being pressured to say that they were with Mr. Combs. Can you elaborate on that, please? Are they calling you to say if they're being pressured?
Yeah, there was a witness that came forward that contacted my office and submitted an affidavit in court regarding this.
And we read that
accounted for
past video.
What occurred on that day, which was they called the Busby firm. They said they had an inquiry. The inquiry had nothing to do with Mr. Combs, Mr. Carter, or any of this. And the people at the Busby firm said, well, why don't we try to push this in the direction of the Combs case? That's a better decision in sum and substance. That's a better way to go here.
Nasty
This
work.
individual refused to do that, contacted my office and signed them, and then an affidavit was submitted to court.
Yep, and we talked about that the other day. It's disgusting that this would happen. If true, it's still alleged. As much as I'd like to sit here and just take shots at Tony, we don't know if this is actually happening, if this is the case. So we'll have to see as this plays out. But Alex, Jay-Z, Tony, it looks like neither one of them are backing down. As we just saw, Tony's about to sue Roc Nation, saying that now they're coming after him and trying to get some of his former and current clients to say that they were coerced into making these statements. We're going to have to see what happens. Y'all let me know what you think in the comments and in the chat. Nasty, nasty work, man. Tony, he's in hot water right now. Especially, again, since we were able to do just some minimal research when this news first broke and see that it doesn't make sense that this happened. Shout out to Dennis Byron. He was on it as well, posting the pictures that he took at the party that went on until 3 a.m. And then we saw the more information from CNN and other news sources like NBC that said, something isn't adding up here. Oh my gosh. Is that the lawyer that who represented Alec Baldwin? I don't know. I saw somebody else mention that, but it might be. Kim Fox did the same thing with R. Kelly and had them calling the 1-800 number. Oh, I didn't realize Jay-Z had Alec Baldwin's attorney. Oh, that is him. Okay, shout out to Alex. Getting that work in. I wanted to get into Christian Eppinger today, but I think we're going to cover that tomorrow. We're going to do a little bit of a rewind and go back and see what actually happened with Christian Eppinger, and then we'll look at this immunity as well. If y'all want to see and hear more information about this immunity immediately, make sure you go check out Kat Not Williams' channel. She covered it yesterday during her live stream, and I'm sure she'll have a clip of it if she doesn't already at some point. Either way, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for showing love. Thank you to everyone who sent in super chats as well. Let me make sure I didn't miss any. We should be good. Yeah, I think I got all of them. The last one was Gigi, said thank you for all that you do. Thank you, Gigi, for the support. Thank you to all 1,400 of y'all that liked the video. Oh my gosh. Almost at 100% likes. If you haven't yet, like the video on your way out. It's free. It does help the channel continue to grow. And as always, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any time that we go live or drop a new video. I appreciate y'all. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And hopefully we'll have some good news on Yak Gotti. We got to get that man out of here before Christmas. So hopefully Judge Whitaker was able to help him out. I'll keep you guys updated and we'll have more for you on tomorrow's show. Y'all have a great rest of your day. As always, keep growing, keep pushing, keep it classy. We gone. Peace.